Good morning. It is Thursday, January 22nd. Here's what we're working on. Marineland has presented a plan to the federal government to transport the remaining captive whales and dolphins to the United States.
Toys R Us Canada is closing more stores amid a wave of lawsuits from landlords.
And the Leafs were handed another loss last night. Thanks so much for joining us. Brian, I was kind of like bracing myself for a very, very cold step out the door today. I was pleasantly surprised. It's okay right now.
Yes, right now.
Yes.
It's okay to be pleasantly surprised. Is when it goes the other way and it goes bang in the face and it's so cold. That'll happen as we continue through tomorrow into the weekend, where we are forecasting some very cold temperatures.
It could be record cold, I hear.
It could be record cold temperatures, yes. So we're looking at that to settle in, excuse me, this coming weekend. And then we could get a little blast of snow on Sunday. What we're getting right now is some blowing snow and some drifting snow. It's light at the moment. We could get a couple of centimeters as the day progresses, but it's not particularly cold. I mean, it's, -4 at the moment. So yeah, you're going to feel that. There's a bit of a wind chill this morning. It feels about -11, so we're going to sit around -5 for the day today, so the temperature could fall just a little bit further. And then that's where we're going to sit for the day, and then the temperatures will really start to fall off as we go through the overnight hours tonight. Into the day tomorrow is going to be bitterly cold and even colder on Saturday. So all the details on that coming up. Quick check on the roads this morning, and there's really nothing to see. The 403 Waterdown Road area, our exclusive cameras doing fine. Nothing right there. Just a few MTO traffic cameras. Just to give you an idea, Nikola Tesla Boulevard. That's toward the Skyway Bridge, is doing fine. Other side of the Skyway south of 2 looks good. No problems here at Third Line. But let's go back into the Niagara Peninsula, back into the Mountain Road area between St. Catharines and the Falls. It's snowing a little bit heavier, and as you can see, it's starting to build up on the highways there. So be really careful this morning. We have blowing and drifting snow at the moment, so yeah, the roads could be covered in snow in some areas. All right, we'll look at weather and we'll check traffic coming up in a few minutes. Right now, the news.
Okay, thanks very much, Brian. Marineland has presented a plan to the federal government to transport the remaining captive whales and dolphins in Canada to a number of institutions in the United States. If not, they'll move forward with their backup plan to euthanize the animals. Simone Gavros joins us in studio with more.
Annette, Marineland confirmed in a statement to the Canadian press that it presented this rescue solution to Fisheries Minister Joanne Thompson yesterday, but no additional details have been provided just yet. Now, the theme park has presented this plan as a time-sensitive matter and says it now hinges all on the minister's authorization. The minister's office says that she's going to review the export permit applications expeditiously. Several sources spoke anonymously because they're not allowed to speak publicly about the ongoing situation at the shuttered attraction. They say the deal would be set to send the 30 belugas and 4 dolphins to SeaWorld, Georgia Aquarium, Shed Aquarium, and Mystic Aquarium, all in the United States. Now, the park sold 5 beluga whales to Mystic Aquarium in Connecticut 5 years ago, but 3 died while there due to pre-existing conditions. Now, this plan, sending the whales to the United States, is something that has been suggested by advocates back in September, with that whale toll sitting at, or rather the whale death toll sitting at 20 since 2019. But the concern at the time is that there wouldn't be room for all of the whales. Now, I'll be speaking to a former Marineland trainer coming up, and we'll have those details next. But for now, Rick, back over to you.
Thank you, Simone. U.S. President Donald Trump has dropped his threat of tariffs over support for Denmark in his fight to take over control of Greenland.
It's the ultimate long-term deal, and I think it puts everybody in a really good position, especially as it pertains to security and minerals and everything else.
Trump says he's worked out a framework of a future deal over Greenland and Arctic security with the head of NATO. The deal could involve mineral rights. Denmark's prime minister says her country can't negotiate its sovereignty. Diplomatic sources say there's no agreement for U.S. control or ownership of the autonomous territory. The Danish foreign minister says he wants to sit down and find out how we address the American concerns in the Arctic while respecting the red lines of the Kingdom of Denmark.
The family of a Hamilton boy fatally struck by a city bus last month say he should have been in school at the time. The parents of 7-year-old Max Samoa say their nonverbal and autistic son couldn't stay in school for a full day because of a lack of staff. They say Max was put on a modified schedule of 3 hours in class. His day would end after lunch. The afternoon of December 11th, Max was hit by a slow-moving HSR bus after getting off a bus stop. He died later in hospital.
If he would have had the supports, wouldn't have been on that bus with my wife to slip and all that happened. He would have been in school. So, yeah, I think it is right to compare the both. He had a right to a safe education.
The Ontario NDP and Ontario Autistic Coalition are calling on the Ford government to address staff shortages, including education assistants. Premier Doug Ford responded by defending Ontario's budget on education and say they aim to hire roughly 6,000 more educators.
Toys R Us Canada is closing more stores, and its website says online purchases are temporarily unavailable. The Canadian division, owned by Ancaster-based Putman Investments, is facing a wave of lawsuits from landlords who say they're owed more than $31 million in rent. Court filings show at least 7 cases tied to missed payments at malls in Ontario and New Brunswick. There are at least 38 store closures across the country, most recently in Guelph. There are 40 stores left. Putman Investments also owns Babies R Us Canada, the HMV Shop, and Northern Reflections.
Premier Doug Ford wants Canadians to refuse to buy Chinese-made electric vehicles.
Yeah, boycott the Chinese EV vehicles.
Prime Minister Mark Carney struck a deal with China's president last week to allow the annual import of up to 49,000 of these EVs in exchange for China reducing tariffs on canola, seafood, beef, and pork.
Support companies that are building vehicles here. It's as simple as that. This is a Team Canada approach. We got to stick together.
Ford was at a news conference with reps from automotive and parts manufacturers, as well as the head of the major union for many of those plants, Unifor. They say the federal government has to boost Canada's auto industry's competitive with measures such as lowering the cost of investing in machinery and research and development. Ford says he doesn't believe Chinese automakers will ever produce vehicles in this country. The United States will officially leave the World Health Organization today. U.S. President Donald Trump gave notice that the United States would leave the UN Health Agency on the very first day of his second term in 2025 through an executive order. Under U.S. law, it had a 1-year notice to give a 1-year notice and pay all outstanding fees to the WHO before leaving the agency. The States reportedly owes $260 million. The World Health Organization, which monitors outbreaks and sets standards for public health around the globe, is cutting a quarter of its staff this year, in part because the United States has traditionally been its biggest backer. The restart of the world's largest nuclear power plant was suspended today, just hours after it resumed for the first time since the 2011 Fukushima nuclear disaster. The restart of the number 6 reactor at the plant in north-central Japan was suspended because of a glitch related to control rods. They're essential to safely starting up and shutting down reactors. That's according to its operator, Tokyo Electric Power Company Holdings. TEPCO says there was no safety issues from the glitch, and it's checking the situation. It's not known when the restart process will resume. Prince Harry has wrapped up evidence at a London court as part of a lawsuit against the publisher of Britain's Daily Mail. The publisher is facing allegations of unlawful information gathering. Harry struggled to hold back his emotions while saying, quote, "They have made my wife's life an absolute misery." The 41-year-old Duke of Sussex told London's High Court he wouldn't be able to complain about the tabloid stories that are central to his claim at the time of publication because of the institution I was in. He means the royal family. Harry is one of several high-profile figures, including Elton John and Elizabeth Hurley, who accuse Associated Newspapers of gathering information through unlawful practice.
Sportsline, it wasn't long ago that the Maple Leafs had won 8 of 10 games, but Toronto has now lost 4 of 5. Leafs hosting the Red Wings last night, and things started well for the home side when Scott Laughton opened the scoring less than 5 minutes into the first period. It was Laughton's 7th goal of the year and 2nd in 4 games. Just before the opening period ended, however, Detroit pulled even when Simon Edvinsson took a pass from Dylan Larkin and beat Joseph Woll. After Woll and John Gibson shut the door in the second and third periods, Leafs rookie Easton Cowan made a costly turnover in overtime, and Larkin took advantage by scoring the winner. To make matters worse, Leafs defenseman Oliver Ekman-Larsson left the game in the first period with a lower body injury and did not return. The Leafs may be struggling. The Raptors, however, are heating up.
And it allows Quick to at times to play off the ball.
No doubt.
Frees him up offensively. Digging in Grady with the steal behind the back. Attacking Monk. How about that move by Grady?
After trailing 61-52 at halftime, Toronto turned the game around in the third quarter by outscoring Sacramento 43-21 en route to a 122-109 win over the Kings. Scotty Barnes scored 14 of his 23 points in the third, his season-high 5th consecutive game with at least 22 points. Brandon Ingram also had 23 points as the Raps won in Sacramento for the first time in 3 years. Canadian Denis Shapovalov has been booted from the Australian Open after losing in straight sets to Marin Cilic. That leaves Burlington's Victoria Mboko as the only Canadian singles player left standing. Mboko plays Clara Tauson in their third-round match later on today. Days after being eliminated from the NFL playoffs and firing their head coach, Buffalo Bills owner Terry Pegula and general manager Brandon Beane held their end-of-season news conference with the media.
If I can put you all in that room at that moment after the game, it's like, how do we overcome this? You know, it's been one year after another, and that it was the sense of how do we overcome this, and I just couldn't see us doing that with Sean.
Pegula says he made the decision to fire Sean McDermott in the locker room after their playoff loss to Denver, saying he felt the team had hit the proverbial playoff wall. Well, the news got a little messy when Pegula added that McDermott pushed to draft underperforming receiver Keon Coleman, while Beane wanted to take another player. All right, from the This Looks Weird files, the Mets introduced Bo Bichette at a news conference yesterday after finalizing a 3-year, $126 million contract with the former Blue Jay. Bichette told Sportsnet that he only has fond memories of his time in Toronto.
They supported me so much through so much, you know, and I'll also remember my first at bat in the World Series where they had my back and they believed in me after not playing for that long.
Toronto drafted the 27-year-old in 2016. He made his big league debut in 2019 and became an instant fan favorite. The Mets have acquired pitchers Freddie Peralta and Tobias Myers from Milwaukee for a couple of prospects. The Wentworth Griffins host the Dundas Real McCoys tonight at 7:30 at Harry Howell Arena in Hamilton. Bulldogs are in North Bay tonight. Niagara hosts Barrie.
Okay, 6:13, getting ready for this Thursday morning here, 22nd of January. Let's look at traffic. Traffic is getting slow here. This is the 403 and Waterdown Road. That's our exclusive camera. So a bit of a problem a little further along. There's nothing here, just the volume that's the buildup behind it. Let's go to some MTO traffic cameras and I'll see if I can pinpoint. There's a problem. It's up underneath the bridge there. We have a collision. It's going westbound, so it's coming from the QEW trying to get onto the 403 to come into Hamilton. So obviously a visual distraction going out of Hamilton toward Brant Street. That's one side of it. The other side of it is as the camera is here east of Brant Street. That's the closest I can get to it. As you can see, as you get further toward Brant and then toward the junction with the 403, it really starts to slow down. But unfortunately, we can't pick it up on our cameras right there. But that is the problem at the moment. And that's the only problem that we have at the moment. So please take it carefully. Let's get to our temperature that we have at the moment in Hamilton. The roads could be very slippery because we are getting some light snow and blowing and drifting snow this morning. The temperature at the moment is -4. The winds make it feel like -11. So yeah, it's cold stepping out the door, but it's that wind. It's southwest 20 to 30, blowing that snow around and drifting the snow across open roads. So be really careful. For school today, what we're looking at is mainly cloudy with flurries. Temperature temperatures sitting about -5 for the day. We'll still have a wind chill, though, of -16, so it's going to be cold. There's the snow that we've been getting over the past 6 hours. You can see the darker blues of the heavier accumulations. That cold front has gone through, shifted the winds around to the west, and that's what we're going to feel, and it's going to usher in some much chillier temperatures. Today, -4 to -5. Temperatures later on will start to fall, but 2 to 5 centimeters around the horseshoe today. Tonight gets colder, -12 to -16 tonight. Wind chill values down around -22. Yeah, it's going to be cold tonight, and that's how we'll start the day tomorrow. Tomorrow, we're only going to climb to -10 to -12. -14 will be the high for Cayuga and Simcoe tomorrow, and tomorrow's wind chill values of -25. So dangerously cold. We'll have cold weather alerts in effect. So out the door this morning, light snow. It is windy. Temperature right now -4, but a wind chill of -11. Long range for the weekend coming up. Annette, break.
Okay, short range, right after the break. We're going to say good morning to Emily with a preview of what she has to come in Chit Chat. And in business news, condo sales in the GTHA continue to lag. 6:18, time to check in with Emily.
Hi, good morning. Coming up, we take a look at Being Gordon Ramsay. It's a show, looks a little drama-filled. Looks a little angry because he's just like that.
But it takes him kind of outside of the kitchen.
It does, and we actually get a peek into his personal life, which again looks kind of angry. It's just who he is, I think.
What if it turns out he's really like a teddy bear?
And just like super soft and gentle? Yeah. That'd be amazing, but disappointing. And looking into some Grammy performances, and later on this morning, the Canadian film industry is about to get a lot more love with the new film production company, Precious Metal. We'll talk all about that.
Okay.
Thanks, Emily.
Well, in overseas trading this morning, the Canadian dollar is up slightly to 72.37 cents U.S. Gold is down $15 an ounce. Oil is down 60 cents to $60.28. It's down 33 cents to $60.28. Midday trading in Europe, London and Frankfurt are all up at this hour.
Asian markets were all up today, with Tokyo posting a 900-point gain. A bounce-back day for North American markets yesterday, with the TSX, Dow, and NASDAQ all posting gains.
A new report shows new condo sales in the Greater Toronto and Hamilton area are down for the 4th year in a row. The 1,599 built units are the lowest number since 1991. Analysts at Urban Nation say that's a 60% drop from 2024. There's also been a 95% drop since 2021. The numbers force some condo products to shift to purpose rental models instead.
A Canadian court has set aside a government order that required social media app TikTok to shut down. The court is asking for the federal government to conduct another review. Back in 2024, TikTok was ordered to close its Canadian offices due to national security concerns. The decision stopped short of banning the app for Canadians. A TikTok Canadian spokesperson says they are looking forward to working with Industry Minister Melanie Joly on a new review. The company says closing Canadian operations would have resulted in hundreds of job losses.
And Snap, the parent company of Snapchat, has agreed to settle a social media addiction lawsuit in the United States. A 19-year-old brought the lawsuit forward, claiming the company's app has addictive features that harmed her mental health. The lawsuit also names TikTok, Meta, and YouTube. No settlements with those companies were announced, which means the trial goes forward next week in LA. The companies deny any scientific link between social media use and addiction. Thousands of lawsuits with similar claims have been filed against the four companies, and some of the cases have been brought forward by school districts and by states. They are set to go forward later this year.
All right, taking a quick break. Brian is going to return with your traffic update, as well as you look at your 7-day weather forecast. Stay with us.
6:24 is the time, and it's, well, if you want to call it that, Friday Junior. Okay, it's Thursday morning here. We're looking at our MTO traffic cameras off the get-go. And yeah, we do have a problem on the QEW. Well, actually, it's the QEW Niagara bound, but you're trying to get onto the 403, just at the 403 split with the QEW to either go Niagara or the 403, and it's starting to back things up here. This is the east of Brant Street, so it's backing up now toward Guelph Line. If I go to the other side, it's not too bad coming out of Hamilton, heading away from us. There you can see going under the bridge. The collision is just past the bridge there in the distance, so it's a little bit slow coming out of Hamilton on the 403. Otherwise, getting some heavier snow here at the QEW at Mountain between St. Catharines and Niagara Falls. They'll get maybe 5 centimeters for the day today there. Nikola Tesla Boulevard, the 403 junction, east of Royal Windsor. Nothing going on really on the highways except that problem at the 403 junction around Brant Street. Okay, temperature this morning. We've fallen a little bit. We did get to -1 yesterday, and that was in the evening hours, but we've fallen to -4. So it's not a bad start to the morning. We're above seasonal for an overnight low, -4. Wind chill about -11 right now. -4 for Mississauga, -2 Toronto and for Grimsby. So we talk seasonals. Okay, seasonal for a daytime high is -2. Well, we got to -1 yesterday evening. -10 for the overnight low. Those are our sun times, records for today. And for school today, we could still drop a little bit before we get to our high, but -6 for the first spell and some flurries, maybe a little bit of sun, but temperature will start to fall off to -7 for after school. But we should hit -5, and we could get a couple of centimeters for Hamilton, more for the Niagara Peninsula today. -14 tonight. Wind chill of -22. Tomorrow will only climb to -12 with a wind chill of -25. So bitterly cold temperatures settle in. And then look at Saturday, -16. We'll have wind chill values in the mid -20, but at least we'll get some sun. And the temperature will moderate a bit, but still stay well below seasonal for the highs. That's your forecast. And Rick.
Well, this is a very big year for the CN Tower. It's celebrating its 50th anniversary with a $21 million reno.
The lower observation level now has a new and uninterrupted glass floor that is 113 stories in the air. The main observation level now features floor-to-ceiling glass window walls, which improve accessibility to provide near seamless and unobstructed panoramic views of Toronto. The CN Tower's formal anniversary celebration set for June 26th.
When's the last time you were up in the CN Tower?
Oh, geez, probably mid-80s?
Yeah?
Yeah.
It's time for another visit.
I think so.
I think in the mid-90s it was. I climbed the CN Tower.
The stairs?
Yeah, it was. I did the stairs it was a World Wildlife Federation fundraiser.
Wow.
It was awesome, actually.
Yeah, we should do the show from the observation deck.
That would be cool.
And every so often, just look down. Stay with us. More to come after the break here on Morning Live. Good morning.